Procreate is an app that's available for iPad that allows you to create amazing digital artwork. You can sketch, paint, or even do hand lettering and calligraphy, which is what I specialize in. By the way, I'm Jillian from Loveleigh Loops, and my sister Jordan and I have been using our iPads since 2017 to create calligraphy and hand lettering, and we love teaching everything we know. So when you first download the Procreate app, you're going to open it up and it will look something like this. Now before we get into this, let's talk about supplies. So of course you're going to need an iPad, and you will need something to write with, which is called a stylus. I have an Apple Pencil as my stylus, and we highly recommend using the Apple Pencil. We have a whole blog post that talks about the different types of iPads that are compatible with the Procreate app, and the different types of Apple Pencils that are compatible with these iPads, because at this point there are 2 different generations of Apple Pencils, so you'll want to make sure that you get the right one. When you open Procreate, this is the gallery view. So each of these little squares is going to be a different project or artwork, and you can have groups of artworks as well called stacks. To create a new project, tap the plus in the top right corner and it will give you some different options here. I usually go with screen size at the very top, or if you have a specific custom dimension that you want to create, you can tap this little icon in the top right corner to create your own custom dimensions based on pixels or even inches and centimeters. I'm going to go with screen size. And this is what it looks like when you first create your artwork. I like to zoom out a little bit by pinching the screen with 2 fingers, just so that I can see the entire edge of the canvas. You can also zoom in and rotate like this. So first, let's go into our brush library. There's a little paintbrush icon in the top right here, and I was a little confused at first thinking that I could only paint with what would look like a paintbrush, but there's actually a whole set of categories in here. So tap on that icon to open your brush library and you'll see everything from sketching and inking and drawing to calligraphy, painting, and even textures, spray paints, and a lot more categories down towards the bottom. Each of these categories has brushes inside. So the brush is the tool that you're going to be writing with. So let's go to the sketching category, and there's lots of different pencil options. I'm going to choose the HB pencil. And I'm going to tap over to my canvas, and as I draw with it, it kind of feels like I'm writing with a real pencil. Let's go into our brush library again, and let's go to the painting category. In painting, we have a brush called oil paint. So you can scroll down within here to find more brushes towards the bottom. I'm going to choose oil paint. Tap back over to my canvas and start to draw with it, and you can see a huge difference between what this looks like and what your pencil looks like. So as I draw with this, if I notice that I want my strokes to look a little bit smaller, I can adjust the size using this slider over here on the left. So just take this slider and slide it down, and now I can write with a lot smaller stroke. And this really does look like oil paint. It's pretty amazing how they can create this with just your Apple Pencil and your iPad. Okay, you probably want to use different colors in your artwork, so let's tap on this little black circle in the top right corner, and that's going to bring up our color menu. We have different options of how you can view this menu. I most often use the disc one. To change your color from black, first we need to zoom around this little ring around this disc. So as I move around, you can see that this dot is changing colors based on where I have selected it, or you can just tap to which one you'd like. Let's choose blue. So right now, if I were to go back to my canvas and start drawing with it, it's actually going to be black. That's because in this center, we need to change the saturation disk from black down here to blue up here. So this menu has 2 things you need to change. First is the hue, or like the color, blue, pink, and then is the saturation, so how close it is to white or black or to the pure color. So making sure it's in the top right corner, and you can actually double tap in this area to snap it to the actual color. Now we can use different colors. So we have pink, we can change it to any color that you'd like by dragging that around. Procreate has given you some color palettes that have already been created for you, so just go to the palette menu, and yours will look a little bit different than mine because you can create your own palettes, which I've done here, but they have some default ones for you as well. So this flourish one, if we wanted it to show up on all of our menus, you would have to choose that default option, and now you can see it appear in every single menu that we have available to us. So I can change color by just picking on whichever color I want. So if I wanted to use this green, just tap on that, and now I can color with green. To change it, you can open up that color menu, choose something else like this purplish, and write with purple. If you want to change your color a lot back and forth, instead of having to open this menu each time to pick a new color, you can actually detach this from this up here. So drag on this little bar in the top and move it over. And then I like to select this little palette area, and then I can change my color without having that menu close on me each time. To close out of this, just tap that X. So if you have an area that you want to get rid of, we can erase it. Tap on that little eraser icon and let's tap on it again, and you'll see that we have tons of options for our eraser. So anything that you can write with your brushes, all of these painting and drawings, you can also erase with, which is pretty neat. So right now I have the painting category and my oil paint eraser selected. So when I go over some areas, you can see that it's getting rid of that paint. It's erasing it. If I wanted to erase a bigger area, like let's say I wanted to get rid of all of this black over here, instead of taking the time to erase it like this, I can select this area by using my selection tool. So this little S right here, it'll bring up some options for you down here. Let's go with the one called freehand, and then you can draw right around the area you want to get rid of. Tap on that little arrow up there and then just slide it off the canvas to get rid of it. So that is something important to know, is that if you have an area that's going off the canvas, so let's just select this blue squiggle right now. If I were to drag this over to the edge of the canvas, and then I wanted to bring it back, you're going to see that whatever fell off the canvas is gone. You're not going to be able to get it back. Luckily, like most digital programs, you can undo. So you can take 2 fingers and tap on the screen, and that's going to undo your last action. And if you tap on it again, it will bring back whatever you got rid of. So undo is a very important one to know. Again, tap with 2 fingers, or you can do undo and redo down here. The shortcut for redo is tapping with 3 fingers. If we wanted to undo it, tap with 2 fingers. To bring it back or redo, tap with 3. Another common tool that we use is layers. Up in the top right over here next to your colors, you'll see these 2 squares. That is your layer panel. We will go into more detail about layers in the next video, but what you can know about layers for now is that you can create new layers by tapping that plus button in the top right corner. And as you draw on a new layer, it's going to treat it independently from your other layers. So right now, if I were to erase this green, you can see it's only erasing the green, not what's below it, because the green is on its own layer right here. You can also hide a layer or bring it back. You can move layers around, and layers is one of the most powerful features of digital artwork. Once you've created a piece that you're happy with, you can share it. You can export it as an image by going to your Actions menu, Share, and then share it as a JPEG, PNG, or other file type. You can save it to your iPad, and then you can share it from there. Another cool feature is that you can watch a time-lapse video of your project. So go to your Actions menu, which again is the wrench, go to the one called Video, and then tap Time-Lapse Replay, and it will show you your whole video. It goes by pretty fast. You can actually rewind it and pause it by dragging your finger. So if you wanted to go to a specific spot in your video, drag your finger left and right, find that spot, and then you can see exactly what you were doing at that point in time. Hit done to get out of here. You can also export that video by going to Export Time-Lapse Video, choosing the video length, and then saving it to your iPad. So as you're getting started with creating artwork on your iPad, I recommend playing around with all of these different brushes up here in this brush library. You will find some very interesting ones that are a lot of fun to write with. You can also practice changing your color using this color menu up here. If you want to create your own color palettes, go to the palette menu view, tap on that plus button to create your own palette and set it as the default, which it will do automatically. Go to your disk, and then you can add colors to your palette by tapping on these little squares. So if you find some colors that you really like, you can save them by tapping over here. Remember that you will need to change this little node in the middle. That's one common mistake that people forget, is that they forget to change this around. Also, some quick troubleshooting. If you are writing with your brush and nothing is happening, even though you have a color selected, it may mean that you accidentally turned your opacity down to 0. So this slider on the bottom adjusts your opacity. If we drag it up to the top, it's going to give you the full color, and as you drag it down, it will make it more transparent. So sometimes I accidentally make this 0%, and then I wonder why nothing is happening. So it's probably because my opacity is 0, or it may even mean that you're writing with your eraser, and then nothing, of course, would be happening. You can also make sure that you're on the correct layer. So if you're trying to erase something up here and nothing is happening, that means you are on the incorrect layer. So open up your layer menu, find the right one, and then you'll be able to erase. Have fun with this, and once you've mastered the basics, go to the next video so that you can learn about some more advanced features of Procreate and how to use them.